Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We have a clarification from the previous chapter. We will take it up first and then we will move on to the chapter 2, Born in Captivity. We'll take up the clarification first.
The context for the question is the previous lecture from chapter 1, the law of nature. And the context exactly is, you said the act of violating the law brings about a mental agitation. And then you asked the question, when should mental agitation come and who decides that? For which you also answered, the law decides that also. That's why you get it at the time you're supposed to get it. My question is, I have two questions. First one, I'm already an agitated person, and as if that is not enough, when the agitation too follows the natural laws of coming at a time when I'm already agitated, what will I do? Second question, does it also mean that if a person is already agitated means the law has already come into play?
Now, two clarifications with reference to the law of nature that we discussed last week. In the course of explaining the law, he said the violation of the law will bring about a mental agitation. And again, the same law that says you will be mentally agitated is the same law that decides at what point of time you should get the mental agitation. The law decides you will be getting agitated, and the same law decides the timing of the agitation. So this is the elaboration that was given. Based on that, there are two clarifications. The first clarification is, she went in 1 and 2, I am going 2 and 1. One clarification is, if the person is mentally agitated already, does it mean the law has come into play already? If the person is mentally disturbed already, does it mean the law of nature has come into effect already? The answer is yes. Wherever there is a mental agitation, whenever there is a mental agitation, that mental agitation is due to violating some violation is resulting in mental agitation. Are you okay? Some violation has resulted in mental agitation. This is answering the first clarification. The second clarification that she brought about is, if a person is already agitated and doing something wrong now, more agitations, correct? A person is already agitated. Because of the mental agitation, something is done, and there is more agitations. What is the question now?
As if that is not enough, when the agitation too follows the natural laws of coming at a time when I'm already agitated. As if agitation is also following the law.
Correct. What she is saying is, I am agitated and I continue to do something that violates the law. I get more agitated. Does agitation also come under the law? That is the question. Does agitation also come under the law? I will rephrase the question and then give the answer.
So two agitations, yeah.
So I will rephrase the question. So she is defining it as two agitations. One is an agitation that is from the past, and there is an agitation that is coming from the present. For which we say You should not segregate agitations as though this is from the past, this is from the present and all that. You really do not know. You know, wherever there's an agitation, it is an inference that you violated the law. You cannot say this is from the past and this is from the present. These kind of distinctions and all, you cannot make. Why? Because you don't have relevant data to make this distinction. You only know that you are mentally agitated and you are looking for what is the cause for the mental agitations. The cause for mental agitation is violation of the law. Are you able to follow? That is answering the first part, where the don't make the segregation of the past and the present. Already a person is agitated. Fact. Correct? Already a person is agitated. Fact. What does the person do to get out of the agitation? Something he does. That something that the person does to get out of the agitation, if it is not guided properly, it will end up in more agitations. That's all. A person is in agitation and he wants freedom from the mental agitation. In order to get freedom from the mental agitation, the person does something. In that bargain of doing something, what happens? That very action he does creates more agitations. That's all. Are you able to follow? So there is no two agitations. There is an agitation and you do something to get out of that agitation. What you do to get out of the agitation itself causes more agitations. Why? Because what you do to get out of the agitation is not guided. Is not guided by the Shastra. You do it, you do what you think is going to give you freedom from agitation. Are you able to follow? You got to make sure that what you do to get out of the mental agitation is guided by the law. Are you able to follow? Did I answer you in both ways?
More agitation is because agitation is also following the law and coming to hurt me, marginalize.
I don't understand the statement. Agitation is following the law means what? You are repeating the same thing again and again. What is agitation following the law? You do not follow the law, result is agitation. Don't put the cart before the horse. You violate the law, you get agitated. Are you able to follow? And you do something to get out of the agitation. What you do to get out of the agitation itself causes more agitation. There is no 2-3 agitations and all here. There is only mental agitations, mental disturbances. That's all. And what is mental agitation following the law? It is not that you are mentally agitated, you will be followed by mental agitation. What she is saying is, if you are mentally agitated, the law will make sure that you will be followed by mental agitations. That is not what the law says. You follow?
You can't do anything possible in the mental agitation.
Is it okay? Yeah. Now, what is your clarification?
So when you're already agitated, what can you do? And so
yes.
end up not doing anything.
The question that she is asking is very good. When a person is already agitated, what one can do? Howsoever agitated you are, there is this element of effort that you can do. There is an element of effort that you can do. It is the effort that helps you to get rid of the agitation. You don't get rid of the agitations to do effort. People say, I want to be free of mental agitation so that I can do the right effort. Vedanta comes and says, unless you start doing the right effort, you can never be free of agitations. You can't put the cart before the horse. You can't say, I will be free of mental agitations and then start doing the right thing. You have to start doing the right thing, and that alone will give you freedom from mental agitations. Tamasic intellect. Yeah, ulta. It understands everything. Ulta. Yeah, this is tamasic intellect. What is tamasic intellect? It understands it ulta. What is ulta? If I will do something to get rid of the agitation, and then once I am free of agitation, I'll do the right thing. Okay, now what should I do to get rid of the agitation? Do the right thing. No. That I will not do. Say something else that will help me to get out of the agitation, so that once I am free from agitation, I'll do the right thing. What is the answer to that question? Do the right thing. No. That's not what I am asking. That's not what I want. Say something else that will help me to get rid of the agitation, and then I will do the right thing. You will be endlessly circling. You will be endlessly in that circle. At howsoever agitated you are, the law that tells you that you are bound by your own actions is the law that tells you freedom is also there. What is the freedom? Howsoever agitated you are, you can do a small right action. That small right action is enough. Howsoever agitated you are, you can do a small proper action guided by that. You can do that. Your mind will not allow that. You are so stubborn that you will not do. The stubborn mind keeps listening to lectures again and again and again, and come back and ask the same question. 25 years also the same question. 25 janmas also later the same question. What? First, free me of my mental agitations. Then I will do the right thing. First, give me a solution for the mental agitation. It means you have not understood the first step. It is the violation of the law that is causing in mental agitations is not understood. That's why you go on asking this question. Why? You are not interested in evolution. You are only interested in getting rid of the agitations. Why you want to get rid of the mental agitation? So that you can go back and continue your indulgence. So that you can go back and continue. Yeah. You get rid of one person only to repeat the same mistake with another person. No. You follow what I'm saying? In relationship, one person is giving you a problem. You want to get rid of that person and then commit the same mistake with another person. Nothing changes. You follow? Vedanta comes and says, what is the solution? At any given point of time, you can do the right thing, whatever be the right thing is. We are not discussing what is the right thing. Now, don't ask questions on that now. Whatever be the right thing is, we can. If you do that, you will be free. Are you okay? Yes, Ram Subramanian. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Sir, hi, sir. Good morning.
Yes.
So, in relation to the discussion that was just going on,
Yeah.
so, I think there were points coming up about the law coming into effect, right? So, I just wanted to ask maybe a couple of things on that. So when there is violation, we are saying there is agitation.
Yes.
So, and then we are saying that the law is coming into effect. So,
Yes.
but when there is no violation, there is no
Yes.
agitation. There is no agitation.
Correct.
So, when somebody is behaving in the right way or acting in the right way,
Yes.
so the law is already in force, which is protecting somebody from getting into agitation. Is that correct, sir? I mean, to say that the law is always in force.
Yes, exactly correct. The law is always in force. The law is always in force, protecting those who are doing the right thing. That's why, as a law, in every discourse, Swamiji keeps repeating it. A selfish person can never be happy. An unselfish person can never be unhappy. A selfish person can never be happy. An unselfish person can never be unhappy. The law always is there. The law is always functioning. Just as the law of gravity is functioning always. It doesn't take a It doesn't take a break at all. It functions. That's why it's called a law. From Subramanian. You follow? Law means it is functioning all the time. How do you understand that? Understand it as this law. A selfish person can never be happy. An unselfish person can never be unhappy. Is it okay, Ram Subramanian?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the law. That's all. It's very simple. You do an action. Understand it very simply. You do one action. That action will have a result. You do an action and that action has a result, consequence. You can call it consequence or result. Technical word for this is Kritanta. Just as Vedanta, there is something called Kritanta. Technical word. This is technical word. Simple technical words you should know. Kritanta means the end of action. Krita means action. Anta means the end. What is the end of action? The result. The consequence is the result of the action. It's called Kritanta. So, rendu Kritanta, Vedanta. Ella anta, isn't it? Anta, Kritanta and Vedanta. Anta means end. So, you do an action, there is a result to there is a result to that action. What determines this is the result of this action? What determines that? Who decides that? The action itself decides that. There is no third person sitting in judgment and deciding. The action itself decides the result. Consequence is not decided by somebody. Consequence is that which is decided by the very action itself. For consequence is the action. Consequence is nothing but action modified. That's all. There's no such thing as consequence different from action. Consequence is inbuilt in action, is not law. It's very simple. This is what is known as the law. The consequences are inbuilt in action. It means there is the knowledge that you need to know before you act. It presupposes what? You need to have the knowledge before you act. There is the knowledge that says this type of action produces this type of consequence. A type of action will produce A type of consequence. B type of action will produce B type of consequence. This is Shastra. That which teaches you is called, that which teaches you this is called Shastra. And then it says, Yata Ishyasi, Tata Kuru, do as you wish. Because if you know these two, at least you will not come back and complain. What? Why am I agitated? Why am I suffering? You will not ask all these questions. Why? Because you have already learned what? You put your fingers in the fire, it will be burnt. And whenever your fingers are burnt, you will not ask the question. What? What question you will not ask? Why my finger is burnt? Huh? You will not ask only why my finger is alone getting burnt. Where all others are putting their fingers into the fire and it looks like ice cold for them. Only for me it is burning. These are all the questions that people ask. People believe so. Are you able to follow? Why, sir? Only when I put my finger in the fire, it is burning all the time. Whereas all others are putting their fingers in the fire and nothing is happening to their fingers. Whether you put or I put or anybody put, finger in the fire will be burnt is the law. It means you are connecting it wrongly. It's not the law is changing. You are not able to connect the law properly. That is because you have not spent enough time in investigating the law and understanding how it functions. For which you believe to do this, if you say spend enough time in understanding and do all this, for which you believe, this is where the catch-22 situation, for which you believe I should be free from mental agitations. Shankar, correct? Correct. இதெல்லாம் பண்ணணும்னா I should be free from mental agitations. அதுக்கு என்ன பண்றது? What should I do to get rid of what should I do to free myself from the mental agitations? Something you will do which is that itself has a consequence of more mental agitations. That's all. Are you able to follow? Ram Subramaniam, correct? This is what it is. The law of nature simply says it very clearly. It's very clear and very straightforward. A type of action will produce A type of consequence. B type of action will produce B type of consequence. Mind says, your ignorance says, your likes and dislikes says, your infatuations, your temptations will say, action I will do, but consequences should not happen to me. Again, I repeat, what is your mind asking? All the questions that everybody is asking, what? One question, week after week after week. The same question in different ways, and we also pretend it's a different question and answer in a different way. But question is only one. What? One question. I will do what I like to do, I will do. Consequence length, I should be free. That's all the question is. Anybody, anywhere in the world asks only this question. Different words they will use, different languages they will use, different situations they will bring in. Question remains the same. What? Action I will do, but I should be free from consequences. Vedanta says, no. There is no consequence protector after you do the action. Again, I repeat, there is no such thing called consequence protector after you do the action. You have the choice before you do the action. After doing the action, there is no consequence protector. Venkatachalam, we think God is the consequence protector. Are you able to follow? We think God will come and protect me from the consequences. Why? Because human beings make mistakes. God is to, human beings, sir. We are all, after all, we are all human beings. After all, we all make mistakes. After all, we all do this. And what will God do? Forgive us. Forgive us. Not only forgive us, He will protect me. Even if I do it on the future also, He will make sure that He will protect me. That is why the law says very clearly, which is what we quoted last week also. Once if you do, it's a mistake. You repeat it, it's no more a mistake. Or what you pannadan, that's called mistake. Second time, if you do it, it's not a mistake anymore. You have taken a decision. And obviously, that decision will have a consequence. Are you able to follow? I have decided that I will not get tempted again. And then at the first sight, you will get tempted. Why? Because it doesn't work like that. I have decided from today onwards, I will not get tempted, sir. Whatsoever situation it is, I will not get tempted. And this Vairagya, the strength of the Vairagya is only 2 minutes. The first sight of it, the person falls. Therefore, the law of nature says this very, very clearly. What? Before doing the action as a human being, it's your primary obligation to know the consequences of your actions. It's the primary obligation of a human being to know this. Violation of this primary obligation is the problem. As a human being, you are supposed to know it. The instrument is given. What is the instrument? The buddhi, the intellect, as an instrument is given. Shastra, Guru, the guidance is available. And you choose to ignore the two. That choosing to ignore the two is the consequence. There will be a consequence to this choice of you having decided to ignore the two. Are you able to follow? There is an instrument buddhi given, and there is the Shastra is also there. And you choose to ignore. But sir, I didn't even know that these two are there. No. I didn't even know that these two are there. If I didn't even know, what do I do? It's impossible that you don't know these two are there. It's impossible. How do we say that it is impossible? How do we say that it is impossible? Because even as a child, the child also knows what? The child also knows what? What all it doesn't want to happen to itself. The child knows that, no? Correct? Doesn't the child know what all should not happen to it? Doesn't the child know that? The child doesn't want to cry. The child doesn't want to get insulted. Doesn't the child know all this? Correct? Knowing this, what the child will do? It violates the law. Second is there is an inbuilt knowledge. Even if the person doesn't pay attention to the inbuilt knowledge, knowledge comes to you from external sources always. You choose to ignore that. A person always makes a choice to ignore the knowledge. You can't say knowledge isn't available. The divine grace, the divine law always says that knowledge is available. You choose to ignore it for whatever reasons. Are you able to follow? So you can't say, I didn't know that there is this law. I didn't know that there is the Shastra. I didn't know that there is a guide. You can't say that. The ego says, the combination of egoism and temptations. Again, I repeat, the combination of ego and temptations make you to ignore. Ego says, who are you to tell me what I should do? Ego says, who are you? Isn't it? The child is saying, at what age? At the age of 3, carefully follow this argument. Carefully follow this argument. How deadly this argument is that everybody is giving to themselves. The child at the age of 3 is telling the parent, what? I am the one who's going to study, no? Are you going to go to school or am I going to go to school? Who's going to school? Teju. Who's going to school? The child is going to school. Who's going to study? The child is going to study. Therefore, child should decide. Correct? What a perfect argument. Therefore, the child says, I will decide. What? I will decide which school to go. I will decide which teacher to sit under. Does it work like that? Extrapolate to the next argument. You will You will shoot me if I'm for what I'm going to say now. Are you going to marry or am I going to marry? Who's going to marry? You or me? Ram Subramanian. எல்லாம் முடிஞ்சு போச்சு சார். இப்ப எதுக்கு அதெல்லாம் பேசி இல்லையா? Why are you talking about all this now? You or me? Of course, you only. Therefore, I will choose. God be with you after your choice. God only, God, even God can't. You follow the argument? How misleading is this argument? The law of nature comes and says, you don't decide. Who decides? The intellect. When we say you don't decide, means your likes and dislikes, your desires, your temptations don't decide. Then what decides? You decide. This is the paradox. Shailesh. You don't decide. Statement number 1. Statement number 2, you decide. Please say very clearly, sir. Do I decide or do I don't decide? தெளிவா சொல்லிடுங்க. மாத்தி குழப்பாதீங்க இல்லையா? You decide. First statement, you don't decide. You should not decide. Statement number 1. Statement number 2, you should decide. What is it that you should not decide? Your likes and dislikes, your temptations should not decide. You should decide. Now, what is this you should decide? Your intellect, fortified, strengthened by the Shastra, should decide. That's all it is. This is known as the law of life and living. This is how Vedanta teaches how to live life. So, what is Vedanta? What you should say? You shouldn't decide. You should decide. Are you able to follow? You shouldn't decide means what in you should not decide? Your temptations, your likes and dislikes, your raga dveshas, that should not decide. Then you should decide. Then what is this you now should decide? That you that should decide is your intellect, fortified by, strengthened, fortified by the Shastric study, should decide. This is the law of nature. So this is known as the law of nature. Yes, Venkatachalam.
My question is,
Yeah.
just on the other side, we
Yeah.
sometimes fail to do our obligatory duty, or we see some adharma happening, we
Yes.
don't raise our voice,
Yes.
or our voice is very feeble.
Yes.
We are not forceful
Yes.
in preventing a situation which we should have as
Yes. Yes.
and also equally important is as a father or as
Yes.
a husband or as a wife, we don't perform our obligatory duty.
Yes.
Does it have the same effect in terms of failing to do the right thing?
Yes. The question that he is asking is, Venkatachalam is asking is, we have obligations to do and we are doing our obligations, correct?
Yes.
We have obligations to do. Obligation means you have no choice. You got to do it. Obligations means you have no choice not to do. And if you choose not to do, consequences are extremely detrimental. Because the law says of niyatam kuru karmatvam karma jahyohya karmanah sharira yatra pichate. In chapter 3, verse number 6, 5 and 6, he says, niyatam kuru karmatvam. Karma kuru, niyatam karma kuru. He makes it up, he gives it as a command. So you got to do your obligations. When I am doing my obligations, sometimes you fail to do your obligations. Correct?
Yes.
Sometimes you fail to do your obligations. In that case of where you fail to do your obligations, what happens? What happens? That is why in chapter 3, when we did the chapter 3, we discuss obligations as Nitya Karma, Naimittika Karma. Regular routine obligations,
And
occasional, special, once in a lifetime duty. Nitya Karma means regular. Naimittika Karma means once in a lifetime. Naimittika Karma definition is you can do it only once in a lifetime. In the olden days, it's changed. Marriage is Nitya Karma or Naimittika Karma?
Naimittika Karma.
Naimittika Karma, full stop. That's all. Naimittika Karma. It means what? Silesh. Tragedy. Yeah. Not for you, for Bhavana, I'm saying. Not for you. What is the problem for you? Poor thing. She is only battling with you. So Naimittika Karma. Naimittika Karma means what? It happens only
Once.
Therefore, in this culture, there is no such thing called divorce at all. Because it's an obligation, that's it. You follow what I'm saying? So, there, very beautifully, they give the Nitya Karma and Naimittika Karma. So, Naimittika, so when you are not doing the Nitya Karma, you need not do Nitya Karma because on a particular day, on a particular situation, you are doing Naimittika Karma. When you are doing Naimittika Karma, you need not do Nitya Karma. But then the question is whether it is Nitya or Naimittika. What makes a person not do Nitya or Naimittika? Either that person will be doing Kamya Karma or Nishiddha Karma. If a person is not doing obligatory action, then what that person is doing? Either that person is doing Kamya Karma or Nishiddha Karma. Nishiddha Karma means that which is prohibited. Kamya Karma means
Desire.
not prohibited but useless. That's Kamya Karma. Again, I repeat, Kamya Karma means, like for example, okay, you want to go on a holiday to Maldives. You want to go on a holiday to Maldives. Is it a Nishiddha Karma? You can't say it is prohibited. Is it a Naimittika Karma? You can't say it is Naimittika Karma. Is it a Nitya Karma? It's not a Nitya Karma. Then what does it fall under? Kamya Karma. You follow what I'm saying? So if you are not doing the obligatory duties of Nitya Naimittika, you are doing either Kamya Karma or Nishiddha Karma. Why? Because the law is very clear. Action is the insignia of life. You can never be without doing action. That's where all these philosophies, all the Upanishadic philosophies arose from the understanding of how a human being is caught in the cyclical action and is there a way out of the cycle? Is there a way out of the cycle? Because the human being is caught in this cycle. In Yoga Vasishta, Vasishta tells Rama, except the corpse, action always keeps happening, he says. It means insignia of life is, action is the insignia of life. When will you be without doing an action? Only upon death. So it means always you have actions to do. Now the actions is what? Nitya Naimitika A, Kamya Karma B, Nishiddha Karma C. A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. Intellect says there are these three, and these are the consequences of A, B, and C. You follow? Now you brought in a corollary. The corollary that you brought in is what happens if you see adharma? What happens if you see adharma and either you don't raise your voice, or even if you raise your voice, it is so
Feeble.
feeble. First thing, if you have to raise your voice against adharma, you should be dharmic. A dharmic person alone has the right to raise the voice against adharma. If that person raises the voice against adharma, it will be heard very loudly. It will be heard very clearly. Again, I repeat. If that person raises the voice, it will be heard very clearly, very loudly, very clearly. Anybody else raises the voice, it will not be heard clearly at all. Why? It will be feeble. Why? The area of my adharma differs, but fundamentally, as an individual, there is adharmic. Only difference is what? Area of adharma differs. Area of adharma differing doesn't make any difference at all. You are still caught up in the toys. If one person may run behind one toy, another person may run behind another toy. But all are running behind toys only. You follow?
Yes.
Therefore, for me to raise the voice against adharma, I should be a dharmic person. That's why in the Bhagavad Gita he says, who has the right to raise the voice against that? Only an avatara Purusha can do that. Chapter 4, in chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita, he makes it very clear. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhona vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Who can raise the voice against adharma? Avatara Purusha can do that. What individually, what I should do? Individually, I should try to be as dharmic as I can, and wherever I am not able to, I make a note of it and I make a honest, sincere effort to become dharmic there also. That's how it works. That's how it works. You follow, Venkatachalam?
Yes, sir, but only one thing, Avatara Purushas are very rare.
Very rare. And one Avatara Purusha is enough.
Yeah. But when you see adharma happening, it is
Yes.
also a wake-up call for us. It is also you learn that
Yes.
somebody shows a mirror to you.
You learn what you should learn there.
To be a dharmic.
Yes, you will not do that. If Rama teaches you something, Ravana also teaches you something. Rama teaches you how to be. Ravana teaches you how not to be. But Rama alone will be able to kill the Ravana. If I go and stand in front of Ravana, what will happen? I will join Ravana's Goshti. I will also become the follower of Ravana. Why? Because the power of him is so much. You follow? Vali is also like that, isn't it? The story says you stand in front of Vali, all your power will go to him. As it is, he is very powerful. Yeah, as it is, Val is very powerful. You stand in front of him,
Your
your power will go to him. It means what? Vali need not do anything. Uffun Udunale will be defeated. Because he need not punch you and all. Why? Because he has two powers and you whatever power you have, that is also is lost. You follow? Therefore, a spiritual seeker's endeavor will not be to raise voice against adharma, but to learn from it and do introspection and check. I should not be doing that. In this age of Twitter, Insta, I don't know what all is there, isn't it? Everybody is dharmic, no? Everybody is dharmic. That is why it's not worth reading any forward, any post. If Kolattur writes a post, will you sit and read that? And will you forward that post also? SRL Shankar writes a post, will you sit and read that post and will you forward that post? He himself will not forward it. Why will anybody? Why will anybody do that? Why? To raise the voice against adharma, I got to be dharmic. But then the assumption is I am dharmic already. Therefore, I already have the privilege to
raise the voice.
To raise the voice. Because I am dharmic already, sir. Where is the problem? Therefore, I have all the privilege. What is the privilege? Who is right? Who is wrong? What is right? What is wrong? Isn't it? Yeah. That entire social media is one field of adharma only. Because everybody is a virtuous person there.
Yes.
Everybody is a virtuous person there. Everybody can post what is right and what is wrong. Tamasha it is. But sir, this is the modern world, sir. Unless we go there, how people will know? The law of nature says the duty of the lake is to collect water. The law of nature says the duty of the lake is to collect water. The lake need not advertise that I have water. Please come and take. Lake need not advertise. All that the lake got to do is what? Simply collect water. What will happen? Ram Tirtha says this very beautifully. No lake in the world is spared, he says. No lake in the world is spared. Everybody will flock to the lake. All that the lake got to do is what? Collect water, and it doesn't even bother about advertising. It means what? You got to become dharmic and you stay quiet. You will be sought after. When you are sought after, you are an avatara purusha. When you are running behind somebody, you are not an avatara purusha. That's all. Anybody can become an avatara purusha. Or all of us has the potential to become an avatara purusha. What does it mean? Become dharmic, gain knowledge, and stay quiet. You become an avatara purusha. Even before gaining knowledge,
you become.
Yeah, exactly correct. Even before gaining knowledge, you want to teach, you don't become an avatara purusha, you become I don't know, whatever the opposite of avatara is. You follow? Therefore, Vedanta says very clearly that you focus on becoming dharmic. And the very power of you following dharma will speak by itself. That's why one unselfish person is enough to create fear in all selfish people. The presence of one unselfish person is enough that all selfish people will get afraid and a few get reformed. It happens by itself. That is the law again. Is it okay, Venkatachalam?
Yeah, thank you, sir.
I answer you? Yeah. வேற யாராவது இருக்காளா?
Yes, Mala has posted a few questions.
Mala is dismissed. No, I'm dismissed சொன்னா கூட she is still coming. Okay. Yeah. What is she saying? Mala is asking, you said agitation means breaking of law. Understood. 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 No, that's all. Understood. What else is there to talk after that? Is understood. Having understood the question now is what? Srikanth. Having understood, now the question. But. So erase all the previous things. Yeah. But which law is broken? Beautiful question. How is it broken? Problem is how to understand this so that correction is possible. We cannot simply follow those. We cannot simply follow those not agitated because that solution may not fit in with our situation. Good. Another corollary she is asking. If my voice is not heard, does it mean that I am adharmic? Probably. Probably less certainty. Yeah, why probability? Not certainty only. If my voice is not heard, it means I am adharmic with certainty. Okay. Now, which law is broken that agitation happens? Which law is broken that agitation happens? The law of life says, you should not be self-centered. You should not be egoistic. You should not be self-centered is the law. Again, I repeat. What is the law? You should not be self-centered. You should not be egoistic is the law. When I turn self-centered, when I turn egoistic, the law is broken. Are you okay? What is the law that is broken? This is a fundamental law. What is the fundamental law? You should not be self-centered. You should not be egoistic is the law. Which law is broken? This law is broken. Are you okay now? Answering the first question. Which law is broken? This is the law. Second question. How is it broken? How is it broken? By attending to your ragadvesha. How do you break the law? A methodology. You are adopting a methodology. What is the methodology that you are adopting to violate the law? By following your likes and dislikes. Raga, dvesha. By following your own likes and dislikes, you violate the law. So, which law is broken? The law that commands you that you should not be selfish and self-centered is the law that which is broken. How do you break the law? What are you doing that you are violating the law? I am repeating again. What are you doing by attending to your? By you giving priority to raga dvesha, to your raga dvesha. So when you give priority to your raga dvesha, that giving priority to your raga dvesha, keeping aside everything else, is how you break the law. You prioritize your likes and dislikes. That's why, like a joke, I keep saying, no, everybody keeps themselves as the center of the universe. For you, you are the center. If there are 30-40 people here, there are 30-40 centers of the universe, isn't it? Okay, there are 8 billion and odd human beings. There are 8 billion and odd centers. And one center will be in conflict with another center. That is the difficulty. So how is it broken? Priority is given to what? Priority is given to your likes and dislikes. When you give priority to your likes and dislikes, there is a justification given. What is the justification? What is the justification? What is wrong in likes and dislikes, sir? What is wrong if I buy a pizza and eat? What is wrong in that? Correct? What is wrong if I like a phone? What is wrong? What is your answer? Correct? There's nothing wrong. What is wrong if I want to make money? It's not wrong. What is wrong if I want to be famous? It's not wrong. What is wrong if I want to be a perfectionist? Nothing wrong. So, all your arguments will end up telling you what? What you are doing is not wrong, is perfectly right. Are you able to follow? It says, what you are doing is not wrong, it's perfectly right. And what is the solution? What is the solution? Self-centeredness, selfishness means what? Giving priority to your likes and dislikes, irrespective of the harm and others, etc. That is called selfishness and self-centeredness. What is egoistic? Egoistic means believing you know when you actually don't know. What is egoistic? Egoistic is a belief of I know. That's egoistic. You follow? I know, sir. I know. So egoistic is I know. Selfishness and self-centeredness is all that matters in life is what you like and what you don't like. This is how the law is broken. Mala. Purinjada? How do you break the law? By giving priority these two, you break the law. Wherever you are selfish and self-centered, you know it. In the areas where you are knowing that you are selfish and self-centered, in the areas of where you know already that you are selfish and self-centered, all that you got to do is try to become unselfish. That's all. You need not worry about the areas not known to you. Some area of selfishness will be known to you. Find that out and overcome that. That overcoming that will make you aware of the subtler Raga Dvesha. That's how you overcome. And what is ignorance? What is egoistic means? Egoism is the notion of I know. That day you can say, I don't know. That day you can say, I don't know. You are open for guidance. You are receptive for guidance. The receptivity is there for guidance. Guidance is available already. You got to become receptive. Again, I repeat. Guidance is there available. Guidance is already available. You got to be receptive for that. How do you become receptive? You say, I don't know. The moment you say, I don't know, and you are ready for guidance, what is the indication of guidance? The indication of guidance is this. This is the indication of guidance. What is the indication? Whatever you are told to do, you will do it with Shraddha. That's the indication. Again, I repeat. Whatever you are told to do, you will do it with Shraddha. That is an indication of ego reducing. We cannot simply follow those not agitated because that solution may not fit with our situation. Correct. Every situation, formula is the same. Application differs according to Deshe, Kalecha, Patrecha. That's very clear. Mala. Formula remains the same. The application of the formula differs from Desha, Kala, Patra. Time, place, and situation, it differs. The application differs. Formula doesn't differ. So in this classroom, we are focusing on the formulas a lot, not on the application of it. Why we don't follow the application of it? Because the application of it is individual based. And that individual based application cannot be discussed in a classroom. Second, when it is individual based, there will not be any elaboration. There will not be any discussion. You will be simply told, do this, don't do this. In the academy, there is a schedule in the academy. There's a routine. You got to wake up at 4 o'clock, 4:10 there is the prayer, this. So there is a schedule. Anybody has any difficulty, we go to the teacher, we go to the master, he simply says, go back and follow the schedule. I used to come back thinking, what is the magical formula in that schedule that everything will become all right if you follow that? Because anybody goes with any problem, the solution that he gives is, don't bother about all this, go back and follow the, it means what? Do as you are told to do. That makes you receptive. In that receptivity, knowledge dawns on you. This is answering Mala. Venkat, nowadays time pass பண்ணினே இருக்கிறேன் இல்லையா? I'm just doing time pass till we hit 9 o'clock. I will say we will meet next week. No odilla. Yes.
Agitation வந்துட்டு போறதுனால லாவும் வந்துட்டு போயிட்டு நான் நினைச்சிருக்கேன். லா இருந்துட்டே இருக்குன்னு எனக்கு எப்படி தெரியும்?
Yeah. The question that she is asking is, agitations keep coming and going. How do I know the law is ever present? Law and agitations are not connected. Agitation is an indication of violation of the law. Again, I repeat, agitation is an indication that the law is violated. Every time you trip and fall, the law is in play. What is the law? The gravity is in play. Okay, supposing you don't trip and fall at all for 10 years, 15 years, what happens? The law is still there. Are you able to follow? The law is still there. Obeying the law is okay. It's very simple. Obeying the law means there will be a harmony. I said it last week. Okay. You recognize the presence of your head only. When will you become aware of your head? Migraine on the, isn't it? Only when you get a headache, you will recognize the presence of your head, isn't it? You will recognize the presence of your eyes only when a foreign body enters into the eye. As long as it is functioning normally, it's harmonious, and you won't even notice it. The beauty of the law is that you won't even notice it. Any small violation, you will become aware of it. That's how you understand. You follow? Vijay, Purida. You will become aware of your breathing only when there is a breathing difficulty. You are breathing. Are you aware of your breathing now? No. You are not aware of your head now. If you are aware of your head now, you have a headache. So, when you fall out of harmony, it will be known. When you are in harmony, that is bliss. Again, I repeat. When you fall out of harmony, it will be noticed. When you are in harmony, what is there to notice? You are in harmony already. Are you able to follow? That's a natural state. So agitation is the unnatural state. Lack of agitations is the natural state. When you are in your natural state means in harmony, it means the law is not violated. So when you violate the law, you follow? Violation of law means a choice that you are making. Remember that. What is violation of the law? Violation of the law is a choice that you are making. A conscious, deliberate choice. That conscious, deliberate choice has a consequence. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. We have seen it any number of times. Ignorance is not an excuse. I can't say, I didn't know. But sir, genuinely I didn't know. You can't say that. You can't say I didn't know. Why? You can't say I didn't know. How can you say that? Even the child also understands that. Even the child understands, no? That's why I gave the example in the beginning. Even the child doesn't like to get insulted. Correct? So it means it's not that you don't know. Knowing, you choose to. Knowing, you choose not to. What makes you to do that? That's Arjuna's question in Bhagavad Gita. What makes me to do that? Avashaha, he says, helplessly I am drawn, Krishna. Helplessly. Helplessly. And Krishna doesn't sympathize with that helplessness. Okay. Krishna doesn't sympathize at all. Arjuna says, helplessly I am drawn. Kama yesha, krodha yesha, rajoguna, samudbhavaha, mahashanai, mahapapma, vidyena, iha vairinam. Know this to be the enemy here, Arjuna. Know this to be the enemy. What is the enemy? Kama and the modifications of Kama. Kama and the modifications of Kama. Everybody knows that, no, isn't it? The frequency of the five, the intensity of the five, the recovery time that you take from the five. Everybody, even the child knows it, correct? Therefore, nobody can say, I don't know. Even the child, when it gets angry, it understands that it should not get angry, isn't it? The child doesn't like to be in fear, correct? The child doesn't want to be in fear. So it knows what it wants and what it doesn't want, it knows. So ignorance cannot be claimed as a reason for exemption from the law. People are asking for exemption from the law under the grounds of ignorance. Yeah. Sir, in the law, there is exemption. On what grounds exemption will be given? The ground for seeking exemption is ignorance. The law says ignorance is not an excuse. And what is the law? One fundamental law. What is that fundamental law? Self-centeredness, selfishness, egoism. Out of egoism, you guide others because you know what is right, what is wrong. What is egoism? Egoism is the notion I know. Because of this egoism, you start guiding others. Another distinct factor is selfishness and self-centeredness. What is selfishness and self-centeredness? What is the danger in selfishness and self-centeredness? The danger in selfishness and self-centeredness is all means will be justified for the end. That's why I keep repeating it. Every few sessions, we keep repeating it again and again and again. The misunderstanding is success erases all wrongdoings. The person believes all that I got to do is to become successful. Why? Because success erases all wrongdoings. This is selfishness, self-centeredness. Therefore, what is violating the law means? You know that you should not be selfish. You know that you should not be egoistic. You know that you should have humility. You know that you should be sacrificial, and yet you violate it. Correct? Maya and Mithya and all needs to be learned. That all we don't discuss it at all. That doesn't come under the purview of law. That comes under transcending the law. The person who obeys the law alone is qualified to transcend the law. One who is an 100% one who pays 100% obedience to the law is the one who can transcend the law. That it is all Maya, it is all me, all that is for the one who obeys the law. Here we are discussing what? How to obey the law first, so that the obedience of the law qualifies you to transcend the law. The violator of the law cannot transcend the law. Otherwise, anyway, it's all Maya, no, sir. Anyway, it's all Mithya, no. Anyway, it's all temporary, no. Anyway, we are all going to die one day, no. The right person is also dying, the wrong person is also dying, the saint is also dying, the sinner is also dying. From the skull of a person, can you know whether it is a selfish person or unselfish person? You can go to the graveyard and pick up a skull. Looking at the skull, will you know whether the person is selfish or unselfish? No. Therefore, those who don't have anything else to do in life will sit and waste their time talking about all these things. But we are all achievers. Therefore, achievers will talk a different language. What is the language that the achiever will talk? Success erases all wrongdoings. Therefore, achieve. And what is success according to you? Getting what you want. If you get what you want, you are successful. In order to do that, do whatever you want. After getting, sir, then I will be very, very dharmic. It means what? First, I will do everything to become adharmic, and then the adharmic person will say, I will become dharmic. Dharma எப்போதுமே future tense தான், isn't it? I will do it. I will do it. Beautifully in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, he calls this as Asuric Guna. Who is the Asuric Guna? Asuric Guna will always, all the positive things it will talk about in future tense. As the Asura. I will sacrifice, it will say. I will sacrifice. I will do good. I will not. One day. But definitely not now. Correct. Shankar. Definitely not now. I will, sir. What is your problem? That is Asura Guna. What is Daiva Guna? What is divine nature? Howsoever painful it is, I will do it today. I will die doing it. I will die doing the right thing. For it is worthless living doing the wrong thing. I will die doing the right thing. Because it is worthless living doing the. This is the law of nature. With this, we conclude for today. We'll continue with born in captivity next session.